Hey guys, it's Crazy Comic Lady here, and if you're new to my channel, hello! And if you're one of my old subscribers, thanks for sticking with me. If you're watching this on Sunday, the 19th of March, it's my birthday today, so I can now officially say that I'm in my mid-30s. Pretty scary. I also want to extend my birthday well wishes to SamBeAwesome here on YouTube. I will put a link to her YouTube down below in the description because it was her birthday week as well. So go and send some love her way on her YouTube. And today I'm going to be working on a piece called A Mother's Love by JoJo's art. I absolutely love this artist and that art style. And this is such a sad picture, and it feels kind of relevant because also if you're in the UK, today is also Mother's Day, and it's also the 10th anniversary of my nanny passing away. And it's also the 10th anniversary of my best friend's mother, who sadly passed away from cancer 10 years ago. So we grew up together, we went to school together, we actually lived 4 doors apart, so I knew her mother quite well. And anyway, my thoughts are with her today, especially on Mother's Day, because she always says she's okay, but I know it must be a struggle to not have your mother around on Mother's Day. So I think it was about 6 years ago actually that we very nearly lost my mother as well. She ended up with a sepsis infection in her kidneys, which then spread, and she ended up being rushed in as an emergency with heart failure after got over the kidney infection with the sepsis and then immediately heart failure. And it was a very scary time, so I can only sympathise and share all my love to people who have lost their mothers at this time, because it's got to be an unpleasant reminder, being Mother's Day, if you no longer have your mum. So anyway, the last couple of weeks have been pretty disastrous, to say the least. It's definitely been a journey. So in my last WIP and Chat, I mentioned that I had a managing emotions course in Leatherhead, and my dad forgot to get me, and I got stranded in Leatherhead in the rain for hours and hours. My second appointment, because it was a 4-week course, my second trip to Leatherhead went almost as badly as the first one. So I sorted out my lifts, and I sorted out my, return lifts, so Dad didn't have to worry about remembering to come get me. I get there, plenty of time. I get to the room, I put my hand in my pocket to check my phone to see if I'm late. My phone's not there. My phone's not in my pocket. So I'm like going, oh no. This is why one of my biggest fears of getting a smartphone was losing the smartphone. So I get into the room, and I'm kind of in a panic freak out, and I borrowed the lady who's running the course, I borrowed her phone, and I rang home, and Mum couldn't find it anywhere. It wasn't outside, it wasn't in the house, it wasn't on the kitchen table, it wasn't in my room. So I started ringing my mobile, and I hobbled all the way down to where I'd been dropped off at the car park, ringing my phone the whole time, going, please someone pick it up and answer it. No success. Walked all the way back, gave the phone I borrowed back to the lady running, Victoria, who was running the class, and then immediately had kind of a complete and utter breakdown in tears. So she kindly sat with me outside the room. So I missed the whole first hour of the session. And she was looking into maybe we can find somewhere that's closer to where you live, so it's not so stressful trying to get here. But unfortunately there were no classes being run where I live. And then she was very nice. She got tissues, and she was handing me tissues. And then eventually I was like, well, my dad, who's dropped me off, he's probably home by now. I'll ring again and see if it's in the car on my phone. So I ring, and my mum says, yeah, we found it. So as I'd gotten out of the car, it had fallen out of my coat pocket, and my phone had rolled under the back seat of the car, and for some reason my dad didn't hear it when it was ringing. So at least that panic was over, but I was in such a state by then, because if you suffer with anxiety and mental health, you'll know what it's like when just a small thing that goes wrong will suddenly, it will feel like a massive disaster. You overreact to stuff. But I was in such a state, I actually popped into the pub that was next door to where my session was being held, and I bought a single vodka and coke, and then I felt better and I went back to the session. And I did actually get a phone call a few days later from the people running it saying, yeah, you shouldn't have done that. Slap on the wrist, don't do it again. So I felt really bad that I had admitted that I'd gone to the pub next door to have a single vodka and coke. But apparently the reason is that you have to be careful about your behaviour affecting other people who might be attending the course, because apparently in the past they've had people who have physically started self-harming themselves during the course. So I completely understand that you need to be aware of how your actions might affect other people to behave similarly if they're struggling, and that's not what they really want at this course. So I completely understand where they were coming from. She wasn't angry or mad about it. She was just saying, please try not to do that. Which is completely understandable. If I hadn't lost my phone, I wouldn't have done that at all. It was very out of character for me to do something like that, but I was in such a state, I was like, I don't know what to do. So that was my second Leatherhead appointment. But yeah, at least I got home okay. I'd arranged a lift with someone else who was attending the course, and he kindly gave me a lift home. And small world, it actually turned out that not only did the guy who gave me the lift, not only did he know my partner, he also knew my mum. So it's such a small world. So my mum was really happy to see him, because I said, do you want to come in and say hello and see the dog and see the kit car in the garage, because he was very into cars. And it turned out that for an entire year, he's a builder, he'd been working on a house up my road. So for an entire year, he'd been walking past my house every single day to get his lunch at the corner shop. So that's how he knew my mum. So very small world. So after that, the following day, I had my specialist appointment with my EDS specialist, which I get once a year, up in Stanmore in London. So my partner had taken the day off work to take me to that. Of course, it's snowing. My health is not good with cold, damp, especially snow. So I had the crutches, got my crutches out ready, and hobbled in, and we got in with good time, and the woman who checked me in said, would you like us to get a porter in a wheelchair? I don't know how long the wait will be for a porter. And my partner was like, no, it's fine. If we just get the wheelchair, I'll push her. Because my partner is like 6 foot something and all muscles, and he's largely built. But he spends his life as a delivery driver lugging heavy crates of paint around. So he was more than happy to find a wheelchair and just push me in it. We should have brought my own, but I thought, oh yeah, they'll have one. So she goes to unlock the wheelchair storage place and goes, oh, we've got no wheelchairs available. So my partner says, well, can't we just use that one that's around the corner, that blue one? And they said, well, it is registered as our wheelchair, but for health and safety, you can't use that one on the slope, because it's an orthopaedic hospital that's built on a massive hill. There's this insanely steep slope. So I was like, and he was like, well, it'll be fine. I can manage. And she was like, no, you can't take it. So we hobbled there. It was quite a long way, and I said to the lady who checked me in, can you just ring ahead and let them know I'm going to be running a little bit late, because it's quite a walk to where my appointment was being held, up and down this massive slope with my crutches. So we got there, and that was okay, and that appointment went all right. And then on the way home, we went to McDonald's. I haven't been to McDonald's for a long time, quite a few years. So I just kind of fancied it, because I always get so stressed out, going through what's been going on in the last year. What of your suggestions have I tried and implemented? What's worked? What hasn't? What else can we try? So she is fortunately at long last going to prescribe me something. I get really severe chilblains because I have such bad circulation because of EDS, and again, she said, yeah, a lot of it's POTS symptoms as well, posterior tachycardia syndrome. she said, I can give you this medication to help in the winter for your feet, but it does have an effect on blood pressure, which will then probably make your orthostatic hypertension worse, which I like to call my disease. So it's possible I'll be collapsing more next winter when I get these pills. So we shall see how that all goes. So after that, I was like, okay, well, I've had 2 appointments back to back. I need another colour. I had 2 appointments back to back. Finally, I can have a day of rest, because at this point I'm now so broken. Like, I had my blanket in the van and everything for going to Stanmore in the snow, but it affects my joints so badly that I was just in so much pain. But I was like, finally, I can have just a day of rest and recovering before I have to worry about dealing with anything. So instead I get woken up at 9 a.m. by a phone call saying, hello, we're the CBT people, cognitive behavioural therapy. It's very last minute, but we've got an appointment available for you for tomorrow at the hospital. It's literally just a 2-minute walk from my house, the hospital, which is like perfect. But I had to say, look, I am disabled. I've done 2 medical appointments back to back. I'm physically and mentally cannot. Like, at that point, I wasn't even taking in information because I was so exhausted because of being in so much pain and everything, that I said, I cannot do it. I cannot do it on that short notice. For tomorrow, I need rest days to recover from my 2 back-to-back health trips. And she turned around and said, oh, well, we've offered you the appointment. If you're refusing it, you'll have to go back to the bottom of the waiting list and wait another 5 months. And I was like, what? Other people were shocked as well, other health professionals that I told this to. They were absolutely appalled, because you can't give someone 1 day's notice to someone who's disabled and then say, we're going to put you down to the bottom of the waiting list after waiting for 5 months. So by that point, we'll probably be back into, will it be what, October? What date are we now? March, April, May, June, July. Oh, August. So, but the problem is I have to do the CBT before I can actually do the ACT, the acceptance and commitment therapy, which is actually better for people with long-term chronic health conditions. But I can't do that until I do the CBT. So it's going to put like a huge spanner in the works. So eventually I think I got convinced her and said, look, I've got 2 more of my managing emotions sessions to go, and then I'm completely free. I'll be able to fully put my attention onto the CBT training. So I think we left it with, she'll ring me back in 2 weeks to see how things are going. But it was like, because I've been waiting for that CBT since before Christmas last year. So that was that drama. Then what happened next? I've got like a list, like I've written down like a list of stuff of everything that's gone wrong. So Monday, I got a phone call from social services saying, oh yeah, we've got you down as a carer for your mum. It says she's in a nursing home. I was like, no, I'm a carer more for my dad, but I care for my mum as well, and they live here with me. And they were like, oh, we've also got down on the records that your mum is 104. And I was like, yeah, so who have I adopted? Who's my new mother? Because, yeah, that's, no, my mother is 66 or 67 this year, I can't remember. And she was like, okay, let's get this sorted for you then. And she said that she'll look into getting us help with cleaners and stuff, because it's just getting so difficult to manage all the household stuff and everything. So we left it at that, and then later that day we were also getting a visit from Alliance Nurses, which was a new pilot scheme that had been set up for people with dementia to offer help. So this woman, Karen, her name was actually Karen, she turns up. She doesn't actually offer us any help whatsoever, because I asked her again about do you know any carers and cleaners and stuff that can help us with things? But no, she was like, well, do you have any questions? And like every time we asked her a question, she didn't know or didn't have the answer to it, and didn't actually offer us any help or any support or anything. So we were like, well, that was a complete waste of time and utterly useless. A couple days later, on, I can't remember what day of the week it is. I think I'm recording this on Thursday. Yeah. So on Wednesday, instead of ringing me on my mobile as a designated carer, she rings my parents on the house phone. And she decides to have a massive go at us. She breaches doctor-patient confidentiality rules, because as a nurse it's not her jurisdiction to do anything, but instead she's like claiming to report us to something that I can't say, because I don't want to make the situation worse, so I can't actually say what's happened. But I don't even know where to lodge a complaint at this point, because it was a pilot scheme. Anyway, it got so out of hand that I was up here working on my diamond painting, and I heard the huge amount of yelling going on. Absolutely, my dad shouting his head off, lots of swearing happening, and I get down and say, what's happened? What on earth has gone on? So she has really upset my dad, to the point where the phone actually got thrown across the kitchen. So I'm immediately do the redial and see if I can find out from their perspective what on earth has happened. Why on earth, if there was an issue, didn't they ring me to discuss things privately and calmly, and not aggravate, the guy who's got dementia? As a dementia nurse, you should kind of know how to address situations with people with dementia who get confused and everything like that. They should have come straight to me and didn't. So I tried to ring them back. It says, the person you are trying to redial isn't available on this contact number, because it was an automated message. You couldn't ring back. If they need to get in contact with you, they will. And I was like, okay, let's go and try and find the leaflet thing she gave me with her direct contact line on it. Eventually I found that. I ring back again. I just get the answer phone. So it's like, literally, this is like 2 minutes after this massive blowout's happened. So she's clearly gone and immediately gotten on the phone. Anyway, so it's just this utter disaster, this utter mess. I couldn't get this resolved. We don't know what the fallout's going to be. I don't know who, if anyone, I can make a complaint to about this nurse breaching confidentiality, having a go at my father to the point where he gets so aggravated he's now shut down. He was like, no more doctors, no more hospitals, no more pills, no more anything. He's just like, no, we're not doing it now. I want them all to leave me alone. So these alliance nurses who were supposed to be helping have now made a situation which was already tense horrifically worse, because now my dad won't even accept any help, because the help we got was just so bad and rude and horrific. So that's left me in an awful place, because now also I feel I can't talk to these professionals and be open and honest, because I don't know what's going to get misconstrued or reported, or so I'm going round in circles, not knowing. I can't get through to anyone. I don't know who to ring. I'm in the panic now. How do I calm the situation down? And in the end, I just kind of break down from it, because I'm still recovering from all my SamBeAwesome trips and Leatherhead and all of this. So I end up ringing my uncle, who's actually in Portugal at the moment on holiday. But I just rang him and kind of broke down in tears, because one thing that my care coordinator has said is that you do need to start reaching out for help from other family members. So I did that. The only problem is my uncle lives a long way away from us, but he did say, he talked to us for a while, and he also talked to my dad, who my dad had immediately forgotten. He remembered he doesn't want any help or any doctors or anything anymore. He couldn't remember actually what had happened with the blow up, or how angry he got, or how much swearing was happening. No memory whatsoever. I think because it was such a traumatic, intense thing that it just didn't get registered in his long-term memory, and then it was just gone. So I was speaking to my uncle, and he actually, I said to him, I'm really struggling. Is there any chance you can come down and see us when you get back from your holiday? And I'll make a list of stuff, and you can kind of hold my hand and help me organise this stuff, like selling the car. or even cleaning the cars. The cars haven't been cleaned for 2 years now. They're growing stuff on them. One of them's broken and doesn't have an MOT. And it's just all getting a bit too much. And he was like, yeah, we can do that. Because I'm not entirely sure exactly what model it is or where the logbook is for it. Because I looked into We Buy Any Car last year, and I keep getting bombarded with emails from them. It's still a really new car. It's only done 3,000 miles on it. But he's like, my uncle said at this point, yeah, you could just ring up the Ford dealership, see what they'll offer you. And I said to him, is this something you could help me do when you come and see us? And he said, yes, make me a list, because he said he has cleaners for his house. He lives up in Wales. He has cleaners and stuff, and he can help. And he also suggested the car valet service. You can get people to come around and clean your cars. So I know the neighbour down the road, they have a valet person who comes in and does their cars for them. So I raised the idea with my dad, and he immediately poo-pooed it and was like, no, I'll do it as soon as the weather gets better. He's been saying that for 2 years, though, and the cars are now in such a rundown state. So that happened. The next thing was we were supposed to be getting a call on Wednesday from a social prescriber. They were supposed to be calling Mum. Not entirely sure even what a social prescriber does. They never rang. We waited around all day. The phone call never happened. I cancelled after the blow up that happened with that nurse. I had to cancel my disability art group again. I had to cancel going to that, so I haven't been to that since December. Just because I haven't had the mental and physical energy to be able to do anything. So the care coordinator didn't ring. Not care coordinator, the social prescriber didn't ring. I was supposed to be having an appointment with my care coordinator because I haven't spoken to them in about 3 weeks. And, a lot of drama's been going on. I want to get onto the 3rd Managing Emotions course that starts in April. But I have to be referred to that, and the places book up really quickly. And my care coordinator guy, I just got a text this morning saying, oh, your appointment has been moved to the 31st of March. I was like, well, I haven't even seen... They're supposed to ring every 2 weeks. I haven't spoken to them now for a month, or 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, yeah. So that's been because they were supposed to have rung on Wednesday as well, and they didn't. And then I checked my phone, I was like, yeah. So I rang them back, and I left a message saying I really need to talk to someone before the end of March so I can get booked onto this course and talk to them about what's happened with this nurses, and just get some advice of where on earth do I go from here, because this is absolutely... we try to get help, and all the help is doing is making things 10 times worse. So that was that drama. We also found, since we got our puppy, we've sort of been neglecting our fish a little bit. Because originally, I think it was almost 2 years ago now, my stepdaughter got a fish from a fairground. She called it Nugget. It was a goldfish. And we were like, yeah, of course they sell it in these stupid glass bowls, which are awful. So we had to go get a tank. We got some snails for the tank. Then the fish immediately got sick after 3 weeks. We got the medication to cure the fish. The medication killed all the snails, and the fish died anyway. It ended up going in my garden waste box, and boy, did it stink out my garden waste box. Oh, it was so bad. So anyway, after that, we were like, let's get something easier. We've got the tank now, we've got the pump, we've got all the setup, we've had a disastrous first experience with the first fish. Let's get something that isn't a goldfish. So we got some Danios, and they seemed to do all right for a bit, and then slowly they started dying one at a time for no reason. We even asked, we took photographs and showed them to the people at Pets at Home where we bought the fish from, and they were like, yeah, sometimes if one fish starts dying, if a Danio is a swarming fish, they like to get together with lots of other friends. I think we had 6 of them. If one starts dying, they all then immediately start dying because they don't like it. It just seems to, they just all die. Let's call it loneliness. So like, oh, well, we'll see how it goes then. And then, every week or 2 weeks, there was another fish. There was another fish. We've got lots of nice little shrimp in our tank to keep it clean. they ate one of the fish that had died, and it was so gruesome. They'd like eaten out the eyeballs. You could see all its ribs, and it was like, oh, good little shrimp. You're cleaning up the tank by eating the dead fish before we can even fish it out. So anyway, we ended up, after a few months, we had one Danio left, one little fishy. And we're like, well, he'll die soon, he'll die soon, he'll die soon. He didn't. He just kept going and going and going, all by his lonesome in this little tank. This poor little one, which we've now named Big Daddy, even though it's a female, but we've named it Big Daddy. So after a while, after several months, we were like, okay, we're going to have to get this fish some friends, because it's the poor little lonely fish all by itself. It clearly wants to live. So we also got a much bigger tank. We got a much bigger pump. We got this all these air bubble things. We had one in the other tank, but we went like all out. We're going to make like a really proper, massive aquarium, so that it has more space. It won't need cleaning quite as often. And yeah, so we did that. We let the water settle. We moved Big Daddy into it along with our shrimp, and then we went and got some more fishies. And that's how Big Daddy got called Big Daddy, is because all these new fishies we got, they were so tiny compared to him, because he'd been around for quite a while now. We've still got him. He's still going after, 2 years nearly. They only have a life expectancy of 5, so we don't know how old he was when we got him, but yeah. So anyway, we got these new fish, and they've all been doing very well. And then when we got our puppy last year, the fish sort of became sort of a backseat thing. If we remember to feed them, that's good. We did remember to feed them. But for the first time, I actually turned the tank light on the other day, and I went and I counted the bump, and I went, hang on, we had 9 in here, because we bought 8 new ones, and we had Big Daddy, and now 2 are missing. But there's no corpses or anything, so I don't know if they've like gone, hidden in an ornament, died in the ornament, and then the shrimp have like eaten the evidence. But they're just not there. So for my birthday, we said, yeah, my partner said, okay, we can get some fish. You can get 1 fish. Or no, he said, let's get 2 fish, because it's a discount if you buy them in 2s. And I was like, yeah, but then we'll have 3 of that colour and only 2 of all the other colour. So we need to get 5 fish or 1 fish. He was like, well, we'll get 1 fish then. So we'll see if we ever get around to that. But one of the things that came up in my managing emotions course was things that can really distract you and pull you out when you're feeling awful is focusing on like something, even if it's just the leaves blowing in the wind, or a noise, or a lava lamp, or a fish tank. That's why after that session, I put the tank light on and just sat on the arm of the sofa and watched them while the puppy tried to jump all over me. So yeah, that's our fish tank story. What else has happened? There's been quite a lot. Oh, my glasses fell apart. So I originally got my glasses. I had to use them a lot for when I first started diamond painting, because the cheap non-licensed Amazon kits I was getting, like the symbol qualities were so bad that sometimes I just needed that little bit of extra, take the glare off so I didn't get eye strain. For the Diamond Art Club kits, that's not really an issue, because the symbols are really good, except for my last kit that I did. My last 4 kits in a row from Diamond Art Club have been an absolute nightmare. So my first kit, the drills were cemented together. My second kit, the glue was really bad and wouldn't stick properly. My third kit was missing the sticker sheet. My 4th kit had so much trash drills in it, I was having to pick them up and throw them away, because they were deformed and had tabs on and weren't going to sit right on the picture. I also ran out of a colour on that picture as well. I was 12 drills short, so I had to just use a very similar colour one just to fill in the last 12 spots, but that was a pain. And also the symbols, it was so bad. There were two that were completely identical to each other. I even put a post up on the Facebook VIP group, and lots of people commented on it saying, wow, I didn't even notice there were two symbols until you said that, and I zoomed in on the photo. Because one was, I don't know if you probably can't see it, but right, so black dot, white circle, well, white dot in a black thing. And then the other one was a white circle with a line through it on a dark background. And it was, you just couldn't tell them apart. It was, yeah. So I haven't had much luck at all with my diamond art kits. This one is working up like a dream though. This one is so nice. This is like the kind of quality I was expecting when I first started my Diamond Art Club paintings. So this one's lovely. But I've also, everyone says like Diamond Art Club customer service is brilliant. If you ever have an issue, message them. Yeah, that's not my experience of Diamond Art Club customer service has been a disaster. They've been awful, absolutely awful. Because I've got a package that I ordered. Ironically, I put in an order just so that I could get the limited time scratch cards they were offering. So I put in that order. I didn't spend too much. I only got 2 kits. And, well, that was nearly a month ago. All the other orders I've placed since have turned out without any problems whatsoever. But this one is just lost. It hasn't, the updating and tracking updates haven't, there hasn't been any news since the 26th of February. So at that point, I'd already contacted the delivery people. The delivery people had told me to contact Diamond Art Club because Diamond Art Club has to be the one to make contact. I contacted Diamond Art Club. They told me I had to contact the delivery people. I told them I've done that. I showed them photographic evidence that I'd contacted them and that the delivery people had said contact Diamond Art Club to get them to chase it, and if you haven't had any updates for 5 days, get a replacement or a refund from the sender. So I showed them the photograph of this saying, look, this is the response I've got from the company. The guy I was dealing with, I think his name was Michael, he said, okay, I'll look into this, get back to you. Right, that was over a week ago. So I messaged him again saying, have you had any updates on my order? Drink. Yeah, I got a completely different customer service woman who had no idea what was going on. I replied to the other email, so they could have just looked back and seen all the conversations I'd had with Michael. They didn't. They did the same thing of, oh, it's at the hub, contact them. I was like, I have done that. They even gave me a phone number this time, and I rang the phone number as well, and it was just an automated recorded message, and it was like, please state your order number. And I was like, H-O, we've got H-Y, is this correct? And I was like, no. And after 5 minutes of this constant back and forth, I was like yelling at this stupid automated message saying, let me talk to a real person. Then I gave up and I messaged Diamond Art Club back again and said, look, I've already contacted them with their automated chat thing on the website. This was the response I got. They told me that you had to contact them. I tried your the phone number you sent. That's just an automated message that I can't get through on. You know, and you guys said you'd look into all of this last week. And now I'm just going around in circles again because no one's doing that. I was like, I'm placing a large order for my birthday this weekend. It's going to be my final order because I have to stop wasting money now. It's getting ridiculous. Can you just send me the replacement kits? Just replacement kits along with that order. That way they don't have to pay any extra shipping because it's going to be coming with a bulk order that I'm going to put in. And they were like, oh no, we'll chase it and we'll get back to you in 24 hours, right? Yeah, that was 24 hours ago on the day I'm recording this video. Still haven't heard back from them. It's like, it was, as far as Diamond Art Club kits go, they were 2 really cheap kits. It's not, they weren't even expensive ones that have gone missing. I just want the kits at this point. Because either refund me and I'll rebuy them before they go out of stock, or send me replacements along with the order I'm going to put in at the weekend. So now I'm going to have to chase them again. And hopefully I'll get the same woman and not a completely different person. I have to go through the whole process of telling them what's gone on all over again. So why is nothing ever simple? So honestly, it's really putting me off Diamond Art Club now, just the difficulty I have. And I understand that they're, you know, a huge company. They're probably getting lots of things they have to deal with. I know they had that issue with their printing service a while ago, so they couldn't print package labels, which held up delivery, and they got a bit behind on things. I did send a message back as well saying, I'm sorry if my message came across as rude. I really appreciate you looking into it. I'm just really worried about my kits. And I never heard back from that message. So I don't know if my message came across rude or not, but I was just getting so frustrated with having to say the same thing over again and trying to get someone else to kind of, okay, it's over to you. I've done as much as you can. So yeah, I think the trick is if you're ordering to the UK from Diamond Art Club, what I found is it's a lot better if you bulk order, because then DHL deliver it, whereas if you buy just 2 kits, they then pass it over to Hermes, which have now been taken over and changed their name to Every, and then it all goes wrong. Because I had, it was quite a funny post I put on the VIP group a few months ago where my Diamond Art Club delivery got sent to the wrong house, and they'd said, your package has been delivered. And I was like, no, look outside the door. I've been here all day. I haven't heard, this was quite a few weeks ago, I haven't heard the doorbell go. There's nothing on my porch. And they'd attached a delivery photograph. And I looked at the delivery photograph and went, that's not my house. I don't have white windows. I don't have a plant pot on my porch that they'd put the package behind. I was like, where on earth has this delivery gone? And again, that's Hermes Every. The last time I bought just 2 kits together to try and be more, not spend so much money and just be like, this is the limit of what you can get this month kind of thing. So yeah, I was in my dressing gown at that point because I hadn't got up because I'd felt awful that day. I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to pick up my phone. I've got the photograph in hand. I'm going to walk up and down the street in my dressing gown and see if it's gone to the wrong house. So yeah, people were looking at me, walking up and down the street in my dressing gown with my phone in my hand, trying to go, does that house have a plant pot? That house has white window. And eventually I was like, hang on, that plant pot looks like this picture. And there were lots of tree cutting people right on the driveway of this house, but I was like, hi, in my dressing gown, walk right past them. I was like, yep, that is definitely the photograph of of where the parcel got left, but there's no parcel here. I was like, okay, I'm not sure if anyone's in because their car's not in the driveway because they've got all these hedge people there. I rang the doorbell and I think they were really startled to see like their neighbour, because they delivered it down the road on the other side of the road. And so they opened the door and they were like, oh yeah, we were going to bring this over to you later. I was like, thanks, got it now. But that was a bit of a panic. So now I know that Hermes / Every are awful. Truly awful. I did actually, they said, rate your delivery driver. I feel bad now because I gave him 1 star. But ever since I gave him that 1 star, it's whenever I get anything from Hermes, Every, it's always that same driver because it shows you which driver is delivering your order. But at least now he's got the right house. So at least me telling them, look, you delivered it to the wrong house, has actually got them to deliver it to the right house. Except that didn't help with the package that has now got lost. That got lost a month ago. So all in all, things have been going a bit wrong. What else has happened? Oh, I did get this wonderful gift. My friend that I mentioned, whose mother passed away 10 years ago. Like, I haven't seen her since Christmas because things have just been so insane that I just kind of withdraw. I haven't been able to feel like I can talk to people. When things get too much, I withdraw. I can't. It just feels like too much to talk and tell everyone what's going on. And that's one of the good things about these whipping chats is it's become my own form of talk therapy. I can get it all out, I can say it all to the world, and then I can sort of go, now I can let it go. I've spoken about it, it's out there. Any encouraging comments are greatly appreciated. I only reply to them at weekends, because that's the only time I go. Weekends, I can designate some time to actually upload a video and look on YouTube. That's my weekend. So it is hugely appreciated, even though if I don't get back to you for a while. I do care. It's hugely appreciative when anyone messages me. So anyway, I got this delivery, and it came at the same time that we had the Admiral nurse people here, and I just assumed, oh, it'll be for Mum for Mother's Day. But it wasn't. Mum went, oh no, it's for you, it's got your name on it. And it was this lovely little card, I'm going to show it to you, which says, Dear Steph, we hope these flowers bring you some joy and remind you of friends that love you. Thinking of you and praying for you during this tough time. Look forward to seeing you when the time is right. Love from Verity and Sam. And I was so touched by that. The flowers are beautiful. They came in this gorgeous vase, and they just smell lovely. They're like filling the whole room, the whole kitchen full of flower smell. I just thought that was so gracious and so thoughtful and kind. Because sometimes, you know, when you do shut down, you go into that spiral of, oh, no one cares, no one can help. But it was just a lovely reminder. So when things all went wrong with the Admiral nurse people, I rang her this morning. I'm trying to do what my care coordinator told me to do, which is, if I'm struggling, reach out. Because it was really early, because I didn't get any sleep after that dreadful yelling phone call. So I didn't sleep, and I woke up at like 6 in the morning. And I also tried ringing the Samaritans again. I have tried many times before to ring the Samaritans, and I have never been able to get through, just so I could have another ear to listen to all this drama that happened with the nurses and someone to, you know, outside of the situation to talk to, who isn't so close to it. But again, I couldn't get through. And one of the triggers for me and my anxiety is being on hold on phone calls. So I gave up with the Samaritans, because I did try twice ringing them, and then I was like, it's really early in the morning, but I think I'll try ringing my friend Verity. And it went to answer phone, and I was like, yeah, okay, she's probably in bed. But then she rang back right away, and she said, no, I'm up, I'm getting ready for work. And she was lovely. She spent half an hour chatting with me this morning, and she even said, oh, I can drop by on my way to work if you need a hug. And I was like, it'll probably be a stinky hug, because yesterday I was in such a state I physically and mentally didn't have the energy to get dressed and washed. So I will do that as soon as I finish recording this video. I know, please don't judge. Please don't judge. It's just been so difficult. With my chronic pain, when I try and explain it to people, I try and say to them, imagine having the flu constantly every single day of your life, and yet still having to do everything, all the usual tasks, while you feel like your body has the flu. That's kind of what my day-to-day life is like. I did tell my specialist as well when I saw her, because she said that you look a lot worse than you did just a year ago when I saw you, what with me hobbling in my crutches and everything. And I told her that I'm struggling so much with my pain and mental well-being that sometimes it's like, have to make a choice. Do I clean my teeth today, or do I get dressed today? Because I just don't have the energy to do both some days. It's just so difficult. Unless I know I absolutely have to go somewhere and see someone important, or a friend, or a medical appointment. I'm just too ground down to care about these kind of things now. And it sounds horrible. I really appreciate nice comments, please. One of the things I really want to do on my channel now, that's one of the reasons I would stop uploading for very large periods of times, was, and someone actually mentioned it in a comment once on my video, and they said to me, you're so fake. And that comment kind of stuck with me. We're going back like 5 or 6 years to when I got that comment, but it stuck with me, because I thought about it and I went, yes, I am really fake on my YouTube videos, because I'm having to gear myself up to put my happy face on, because my whole life I've been like, well, people don't want to be around you if you're sad and struggling with stuff. People want you to be happy and bouncy and fun. So when I'd go through really bad depression stages, I'd withdraw from YouTube completely because I just didn't have the energy to put on my happy face to do a YouTube video. And now I'm just, this is me, this is who I am. I just have to accept that I can't pretend all the time to be happy, because life is very difficult. And I'm also sending my love to all of you if anyone else is struggling. I really care and I really sympathise with the struggles, especially cost of living struggles. I did the OVO gas electric energy readings and submit them this week as well. And I was pretty horrified because back in December we were in credit with our gas electric company. We had £700 of credit stored up. Now we're in minus 89. Minus £1.89, sorry, I should say. Got my words a bit tangled. It's like, wow, we ate through that balance so quickly. I had to put the direct debit up to £503 a month just for the gas and electric. And like in the last 3 months, the gas and electric bill has been £1,548 in 3 months. So honestly, any of you in the UK who are struggling financially, especially with gas and electric and the price of living in general, I feel so awful for people who are struggling with that, because it's like we're surviving, but that if the prices keep going up by that rate, we're going to have to, because my dad, unfortunately, now that he's lost so much weight, he is now really underweight. He's 5'10" and he weighs 9 stone. What's 9 stone in pounds? Like 120, no, yeah, something like 132 pounds, I think. So he's really underweight now for his height, and he feels the cold so badly. It used to be me who felt the cold, but now it's just him. So we have the heating up really high just so he can not feel so awful. So yeah, it's cost of living insane. It's just insane. Like, I can't keep the food shopping bill for 3 of us under £100 a week now. It's getting, yeah. So in other, I have one more really sad story to tell you about what happened in the week, and I think we're done with the sad stuff. So it was World Book Day at my stepdaughter's school. That didn't go well, because on World Book Day you can dress up as a character from a book. And this year she was going to go as Inuyasha from the anime, because that's sort of like a me and her thing now. Is, you know, we watch Inuyasha together, and I got her the cosplay last year and the accessories. She did lose the ears, so I had to buy her new ears. And my partner got her the sword. He spent as much on the sword that I spent on the rest of the entire costume. He got a really nice proper one. It's made out of wood. It's not like, but it's very sharp on the end. We say, like, don't take it out of the sheath when you're around people because it could be quite dangerous. So she didn't take that to school, but she did go as Inuyasha. And she got very badly bullied because you're a furry, and all the, I guess, the sexual implications of being referred to as a fairy, and people were taking photographs of her and mocking her, and she had to get a teacher involved to stop it because it got out of control, and she had to take her ears off and everything because she was just getting so badly bullied by these people. So I'm really hoping that it hasn't put her off Inuyasha, because I really enjoyed that being a her and me watch thing. We're on, I think, are we on season 7? We're on season 7 or season 6. But yeah, that was just so sad that she had to go through that, because the sad thing was, like, the day before she'd asked me, do you think it would be alright to go? And I'd said yes. So now I feel really bad because it's like she was looking for reassurance from me that it'll be okay. And I said, yeah, it'll be fine. And it wasn't fine. So I feel so guilty about that. So anyway, we'll have to just do more. See if we can get her to another anime expo so she can wear it again. Because she wore it when we went to Brighton last year for her birthday in November. So we took her and 2 of her friends to Brighton to this anime expo. It was really small. It was just held in a hotel. But that was a bit of a disaster. Parking in Brighton's a nightmare. Fortunately, someone who knew the area told us where the blue disabled bays were, because I've got a disabled parking pass, and we took the wheelchair. But it was so windy and so wet. I didn't realise how much I was struggling until I got home, took my shoes off and went, what is this? My socks were stained with blood. So the skin around all my toenails had just completely cracked, and my toenails were just bleeding and had stained my sock. I didn't even realise, because I had my wheelchair, so I was sitting down and in that, but the cold and the damp had caused my toes to just, the nails to just split and all. Yeah, sorry, this is a very gruesome story. I have an even more gruesome one to share with you next. Also, so my partner Aidan, his dad is quite elderly. They've just moved into a flat which has a lift because he's getting quite disabled himself. He also has really bad diabetes. He had previously lost a toe on one of his feet, and at Christmas he ended up in hospital with an ulcer on his foot. Ironically, they only had beds available in the dementia ward. So my partner's father, Aidan's father, he doesn't have dementia at all. He found it absolutely hilarious because this one guy in the dementia ward had been convinced that the guy in the bed next to him was his stepson or his son-in-law. And he hated his stepson/son-in-law, whichever it was. And so he went absolutely mental on this poor patient in the bed next to him. And it's so awful, I feel so bad, but it's also very funny. So he ended up throwing stuff in this patient in the next bed, including a massive jug of water that shattered on the floor. So eventually these nurses had to actually physically separate these 2 patients and move them to different sides of the ward because this dementia guy was just so convinced that this poor old man was his son-in-law or whatever it was. So anyway, so my partner's dad, so he had this ulcer on his foot. They sent him home even though it wasn't better for Christmas, and it just got worse and worse and worse. And Aidan showed me a photograph of it the other day, and I was just like, I was absolutely horrified. The ulcer is now so large, you can see the bone of his foot. It's not good. So at the moment they're thinking he may lose his entire foot. Almost certainly he's going to lose the other toe on that foot. But it's sort of a wait and see. And he's tried to get a wheelchair. And Aidan kindly went to the place with the money to try and get the wheelchair. And of course they didn't have it. And they were like, oh, we don't carry it in stock. Because Aidan had gone in, ordered it, and then they turned around, and when his dad went to try and get it and pick it up a week later, they were like, oh no, we don't have it. You have to buy it online. And it was more expensive online than it would have been from the store. So he ended up just getting a different one from a different company. But yeah, so it's been dramas all around. Have I finished my massive list of things that I was going to share with you? So it's just been insane. This last 2 weeks, it really feels like it's just been one thing after another after another. So Saturday, which will be yesterday for you guys, I've finally booked in my eye test appointment because I was given these new medications to take December last year. But I have to have an eye test before I can take the medication to get a baseline eye test because the medication can really mess up your eyesight. And if that happens, you have to stop taking them. So finally got my eye test booked in after nearly 4 months. It's just been so much going on. I just haven't had the physical or mental energy to be able to get down to get my eyes looked at and everything. So, but my glasses falling apart. That was like, right, okay, I can't put this off any longer. And I booked Dad in as well to get his glasses repaired, because for the last couple months he duct taped them back together. Because the metal rod that holds the arm part of it has just snapped completely, so he had to tape them back together. So I got him in as well to have a look. And my mum's in a bit of a state after that nurse. My mum was in such a state as well, because she very easily goes into meltdown mode. Just getting obsessed about this bill. And I was like, you don't have to worry about this bill. They're not chasing us for money. My sister-in-law has already said, don't worry about it, because it came out of the sale of the company anyway. But my mum's just panicking about this bill. And I was like, it's okay. It doesn't need doing. You can let it go. It's okay. So a lot of the time I'm having to put my emotions on hold so that I can calmly and rationally keep my parents sort of sane. But then it also means that I just feel overloaded, and I feel a bit shaky actually now when I'm diamond painting. My hands are like going, I can't find this circle, just because it's all been a bit much. So Sunday today, which is also Mother's Day, I've got my half brother coming round with his wife and the kids that are now young adults in their late teens. They're going to come around and hopefully bring some cake. Actually, with all the stress of everything with that Admiral nurse, I actually opened my birthday cake early. I was like, I want this cake. I'm going to have this massive slice of my massive birthday cake. It's this little dog birthday cake that I just got from Tesco's for myself. Well, it's not little, it's supposed to serve 16, but I probably had the equivalent of like 3 slices. So, yeah, that was my early birthday to myself. Because my mum keeps asking me, oh, yeah, log on to the bank and give yourself some money. Because I do all the banking for my parents. I'm like, yeah, but that requires effort. And if I don't have to do it, I just, yeah, it's too much effort to log on to send myself money. It means I have to use her computer and I have to find all the login details, and I'm like, oh, and the phone keeps going off like crazy. Let's just hope it's nothing bad. Every time the phone rings now, I'm like, is it something bad? So I think we've probably almost hit the hour mark of me moaning and complaining. So as far as a birthday week goes, it's off to a great start. Next week will be better. My third trip to Leatherhead went okay. Sort of. Yeah, it went all right. During the break, I got there early and they were like, oh, can you please wait outside? We haven't even done the lesson plan yet. I was like, okay, because it was nice. There was a tiny bit of sunshine that day, so I sat there. And it was really funny, actually, with my partner afterwards, when I saw him in the evening. I went through my phone. I was going to show him this picture of this car that drove by that was really pretty. And I found this video on my phone. So I'd accidentally hit the video record while the phone was in my pocket. So there was 4 minutes of like black where you can hear all the traffic noise and the beeping road crossings and the woman that walked past with her clumpy shoes, and I remember exactly which woman it was. And then at the end you get me talking to the guy who gives me the lift home. He'd turned up and you hear me on the phone call saying, yeah, they said I couldn't go in. Actually, I could just play it for you. They told me to wait outside because I was early. And then I must have put my hand in my pocket and accidentally turned the video off at that point, because I missed the part of the video where he said, about he'll go in for a pee then. Okay, let's turn the volume up. Skip to the end because there's like nothing that happens. Let's hope that's picking it up. Traffic noise. More traffic noise. Play. So it was very noisy. When you're there, it's really interesting. Like you don't really hear the noises around you when you're at places until you've recorded them and go, that was actually really noisy. Anyway, skipping to the end. Nearly at the end. Okay. Okay, I don't know what happened, like the noise disappeared, but there you go. Unless I missed it by accident. So this isn't what you came for. You came for diamond painting, not for me playing with videos.
Oh, really?
There we go. I skipped too far.
They told me I wasn't allowed in because it wasn't 2 o'clock yet. Oh, really?
Anyway, so that was the random recording that happened. So during the break, I went and I got some cookies because, like last week when I'd had the drama of losing my phone, I'd gone down to Subway and I'd gotten a pizza slice and I'd eyed up the cookies going, they look nice. So this time I went and I got some cookies and I went back up the hill to the back where the class was. And immediately as I opened the door, I put my hand in my pocket and go, oh no, where's my phone? I have like this mini 10-second freak out and then realise I'm holding my phone in my other hand. I was like, oh, you silly sausage. So, yeah, okay, so next week is my final Leatherhead session on Tuesday. Right, 4th time lucky, it'll be fine. The 3rd time went all right, so the 4th time will be fine. And my partner's off work on that Tuesday, so he's going to come as well. And he's not actually allowed into the course because I did check, but he's going to bring the doggies, and we're going to park in the car park of that pub that's right next door. And he's just going to like walk the dogs around because also the woman at the course, Victoria, she really loves dogs and she was like really interested to like meet the new puppy, which is barely a puppy anymore. Yeah, we drove them up the park the other day, and I mentioned how I've been struggling with my health. The puppy in the dark, which he's now actually just turned a year old, he turned a year old on the 12th. He decides that he loves to run very, very fast. Chasing the ball. He's running back with the ball in his mouth. He's aiming straight for me. He's going so fast I know I have not got any chance of moving in time. Brace yourself for impact. My God. It felt like being hit in the knees with a sledgehammer. And not once, but twice, because then he did it again about 2 minutes later. And that one was so awful. I physically couldn't walk. I had to stand there and go, because I tried to walk and my partner realised that I was just hobbling and couldn't keep up with him, and he came back and hugged me. And he was like, I'm sorry. So it's not your fault. He was our joint mistake. Blimmin' dog. God, yeah. Lurcher cross German Shepherd. He's now bigger than my Rottweiler cross collie. And that was, when we last weighed him, that was December, and he was 27 kilos, and that was 3 months ago. So yeah, I have got the most shocking bruise on my knee. It's so big. Puppies are fun. So much fun. Let's never ever get another one. Definitely never get another lurcher, that's for sure. God, they're high maintenance and so destructive. Like, just ate through all of the dog beds that we own, just demolished them, broke the dog crate. He's like bent the bars apart so he could get his like whole nose through it. So we had to get, we're on our 3rd dog crate now. And he's got such severe separation anxiety, he won't sleep at night. It was so awful at the beginning. And now my partner he lives in a converted bungalow, so he sleeps downstairs anyway, but he has to go to bed with the door open. If he closes his door, the dog starts crying. Even it's just having that door open so that the dog Obi can hear my partner sleeping, that's enough. And then he's okay, but oh, it's been ridiculous. He's a year old now. He should be over this. He should be able to sleep. Anyway, yeah, ending on a happy puppy high note. Let's do that. Okay. At some point I will tell the story of how we ended up with that puppy, but it's a long story. So that's a good topic for another day. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you sticking with me for the last hour. If you made it to the end of the video, maybe, is there a koala emoji? Maybe that, or maybe a fire emoji, since this is all kind of the koala dying. Yeah. It's supposed to be when we had, it was symbolising all those terrible fires we had in Australia where all the poor little koalas died. Here's a picture again. Whoops. There we go. So, koala emoji or a fire emoji. There we go. Okay, and on that note, let's hope the rest of my birthday goes okay, and that next week will be full of good things and I can tell you good things. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye!